present, we are faced with the reality of climate change caused by various factors such as car emission, excessive forest farming, and foreign gas. And each country is implement various action to delay and prevent climate change. Today, when the European Union, which consists of Italy, Britain, Germany, and others, is leading the way in the reality of climate change, we are going to look at the key policies that European Union is implementing for climate change. First, the most representative measure is the emission trading system in force. The basic way to reduce climate change is to reduce greenhouse gases. That's why the EU is trying to reduce greenhouse gases, shows to reduce climate change by charge carbon prices for actors. The basic principle of the emission trading system then allocate the amount of greenhouse gases that can be emitted annually to each company within the total emissions, and individual companies can use the allocated emission rights or purchase it through a deal with other companies. Because this method aims to reduce the greenhouse gases naturally by charge carbon prices for actors, and in order for the action to be successful, it is necessary to create the price of emission rights that induce companies to have sufficient inducement must be create and appropriate emissions should be allocated support this. That's why balance between countries and their companies is valued. The next policy I will introduce is EU's Green Deal policy. The European Green Deal policy is aimed at establish climatic neutral state for world first by 2050 to reduce emissions, to investment research for preservation of EU's natural environment.
The content of the European Green Deal goal is to establish Europe as the first climate-neutral continent by 2050, legislation for carbon neutrality in 2050, promoting the use of cycle economy and clean technology, and investing 1 trillion euros to research and innovation over the next 10 years, among which the new taxation structure promotes the use of sustainable energy sources and supports transition of clean energy to poor areas. The clean energy conversion support policy, which many countries have tried so far, is effective in responding to climate change by reducing the amount of carbon dioxide from fossil fuels, which is the main reason of climate change. If European Green Deal succeeds and increases the amount of clean energy available. Moreover, support for clean energy conversion in poor area is not an effective policy that thinks few people, but a policy that thinks all people, so it can be supported by all and have a great effect. The goal of European Green Deal is in line with the goal of Paris Convention, which seeks to keep global temperature rises below 2 degrees and at 1.5 degrees Celsius. The continuing pursuit of these goals show that European Union has a clear objective on climate change and is trying to make tireless effort to achieve it. Currently, EU's main policy for climate response is emissions trading and European Green Deal. Both of these goals are goals that can be achieved by gathering individual actions and efforts. Therefore, we should remember that all environmental issues are up to us, and from now on, we are going to look at joint promotion process of climate response between European Union and Korea.
Korea and the EU first established the formal diplomatic relationship in 1963. Until the early 1990s, it developed around trade cooperation. However, as the relationship between Korea and the EU has developed rapidly since the 2000s, it developed into a future-oriented partnership rather than a trade cooperation field. Korea is the first country in the international community to sign Basic Agreement (FTA) and Basic Expansion Agreement with the EU and has a strategic partnership. Let me explain the objects that the Korea-EU Climate Action Project supports. First, local governments and related agencies to learn information and knowledge about climate behavior, contribute to the recovery of city climate, and improve the quality of life.
Second, a variety of enterprises from large to medium and small that can increase efforts to improve low carbonization and efficiency and expand green business opportunities. Third, civil society to strengthen the capability of active climate action. Last, academia and research institutions sharing scientific approaches that can extend the reduction targets promised in the international community to climate action and global greenhouse gas reduction. SPIPA is short for Strategic Partnerships for the Implementation of the Paris Agreement. The project contributes to climate diplomacy action and cooperation between the EU and non-European major countries to promote the implementation of the Paris Agreement. It represents a political commitment to promote dialogue and cooperation in line with the climate action through specific interventions in line with the global commitments set by Paris Agreement. The project focuses on strengthening policy cooperation along four main pillars: mitigation policy organization, renewal of contributions to the Paris Agreement, climate transparency, and adaptation planning. The project will increase the ambition of the Paris Agreement and make more countries follow one after another.
What would be some additional plans that South Korea and EU countries can initiate together to promote cooperation in responding to climate change? First of all, we came up with the idea to provide souvenir or some kind of benefits when a traveler from either EU countries or South Korea visited in each other countries and traveled by eco-friendly transportation for a certain distance, standing for their contribution to responding to climate change. For example, let's say a traveler from EU countries visited Seoul, South Korea and used Darengi to travel Seoul. Darengi is a public bicycle service in Seoul. They may receive equivalent souvenir or some kind of benefits by showing their pictures or perhaps a time-lapse of them riding Darengi.
I think you might be curious, so I will give you an additional explanation. How could you know that the tourists go around there without emitting any carbon over a certain distance? Currently, both Korea and Europe are active in public bicycles and electric kickboards. Therefore, there will be no difficulty in measuring the distance, and it would be good to provide a gift certificate other than souvenirs that allow them to use those vehicles for free if they use them when using more than a certain time.
Second, you can make a public advertisement targeting all the people around the world by gathering pictures or drawings from all schools in South Korea and EU countries. Well, the point here is to make an earthshape. We could have a contest or event to collect the pictures or drawings that students made by themselves. By doing this, we could inform and alert the seriousness of climate change. Oh, in addition, we could add an interview of the winner of the contest to make it sure.
Finally, it is to provide students in the most ideal country with opportunities related to experience in other countries, such as exchange students or studying abroad. By setting standards for assessing impact on climate change, such as carbon emission or food waste of European Union countries, Korean high school, and various national institutions. In this way, we thought that we could attract people's attention and encourage competition to participate actively. Also, we thought that rewards such as exchange students or studying abroad can attract a lot of participation. Currently, we are in a serious climate crisis. We, in a global community of mutual coexistence, must work together and solve the problem wisely. Now it's time we return nature things to nature. We are rooting for the people who deal wisely with climate change.